Cause I'm chillin', reading scriptures. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. So don't call my phone. Cause I'm chillin', reading scripture. I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere. So don't call my phone. Don't call me out. Cause I'm chillin', reading scriptures tonight.
1 Corinthians 13 and 11. When I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things.
I'm chillin', reading scripture. It's all about that knowledge. Why I wanna hang with the people that's still in the world. I'm chillin', reading scripture. I'm learning about eternal life and how to live forever with a higher. I don't wanna go nowhere. Not me. Cause I'm chillin', reading scripture.
Read up at that nag, you know what I mean? In the Bible. Isaiah 26 and 9. With my soul have I desired thee in the night. Yea, with my spirit within me will I seek thee early. For when thy judgments are in the earth, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness.
Ahchaad.
And I can't repeat the crazy things my eyes have seen. Dropping down on my knees, Father, please have mercy on me. In my life, 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 in my life. You don't understand my pain, you probably won't understand my praise. In my life, you don't understand my pain, you probably won't understand my praise. In my life, 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 in my life,
Yeah.
in my life,
Yeah.
in my life.
Yeah, the devil been trying to take me out the earth since birth. For the umbilical was cut, he was giving me the word. Came out the womb, blew in the mouth, suffocating. Yeah, I barely made it. You could ask Mrs. Davis for good reason. Getting strangled by demons, in tune with the spiritual realm. A higher kept me breathing. Cause I was his and they couldn't cheat him. They say I had imaginary friends, but I really used to see them. Ghetto born, ghetto raised, food stamps bought the Gerber. Exposed to corruption, the drugs and the gang murders. Baddest luck ever, I led with my left hand. Worst sign of the zodiac, glad it's all wicked, man. An evil thinker and professional cheater. You didn't want me as an enemy, I find a way to sneak ya. But praise the higher, I've been on this straight and narrow here. Man, I ain't did a lick of dirt in about 7 years. 7 years, 7
And I
years.
can't repeat the crazy things my eyes have seen. Dropping down on my knees, Father, please have mercy on me. In my life, 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 in my life. You don't understand my pain, you probably won't understand my praise. In my life, you don't understand my pain, you probably won't understand my praise. In my life, 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 in my life,
In my life. Done seen so much, the things an average man should never clutch. Came up out it unscathed, all praise to a higher. In the name of Yeshua, redeeming your son. I know if it wasn't your will, I would have been done. I should have been done, perished in the dew of the night. or in that concrete steel with 25 to life. Now I'm surrounded by Hebrews. We thriving and working, sustaining through these tribulations. And I don't deserve it. I'm being cradled by your hands that catch me in the zone. I don't care what you do to me, just don't leave me alone. Give you the glory when I'm right and repent when I'm wrong. Your people drawn to your music, they know it ain't just a song. Stitches and broken bones. I done struggled so long, my heart been through the meat grinder, but I still can put a smile on. Facing the east, thanking you for the increase. Can't wait to fall into your arms and just weep, yeah.
And I can't repeat the crazy things my eyes have seen. Dropping down on my knees, Father, please have mercy on me. In my life, 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 in my life. You don't understand my pain, you probably won't understand my praise. In my life, in my life, you don't understand my pain, you probably won't understand my praise. In my life, 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 in my life.
Right, run it back. One time. Run it back.
And I can't repeat the crazy things my eyes have seen. Dropping down on my knees, Father, please have mercy on me. In my life, 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 in my life. If you don't understand my pain, you probably won't understand my praise. In my life, in my life, you don't understand my pain, you probably won't understand my praise. In my life, 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 in my life.
For all those out there who ask, why was life so hard for us, man? I don't get it. Yeshua, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus, he left a final message for us before he left, for his people. Not for no Christians, though that's how the Western church be trying to flip it, like he was talking to any old loose individual that got some personal problems. No, he was talking to his nation. He was talking to his people by blood. St. John 15 and 18. If the world hates you, know that it hated me before it hated you. Bang, that's why they hate us, because they hated him. If you were of the world would love his own. That's why they don't love us. That's why the system is set up for us to fail. That's why we fill up the jail, and the injustice is channeled toward us. Who sent us the guns and the drugs and made us thugs? Them. Who caused separation between us and fueled the fire for us to gangbang? Them. Our gangs were started to help and protect our communities, but who infiltrated and instigated and pit us against each other? Them. Who shooting us down in the streets for nothing? Them. That's why they shut us out their workforce, their schools. That's why when something come up missing, it's our fault and we stole it. That's why they treat us like they do. We are that nation not desired. We are not of the world. This world does not love us. He gonna tell us why. Look, but because you're not.
Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Brothers and sisters, nation of Israel, my name is Ahchaad. Blessed is the day we're in today, is the Shabbat day. All praises to the Most High, all praises to Christ, all praises to Yahweh, all praises to Yahweh Shai. Today, we're going to stay in the word of the Most High, of course. We're going to talk today about walking with the Most High and Christ. So walking with Yahweh and his anointed Yahweh Shai. Okay, today we're talking about how to stay on the path that the Most High has put us on, this journey in life, and the purpose of it. And of course, with anything, there's a challenge. And of course, the scripture talks about that narrow road, which is this journey in life that we walk, where sometimes we feel like as if we're walking by ourselves. Okay, but the scripture is going to clearly show you that even though you might not have a physical person next to you, that be your husband, your wife, your mother, your father, your children walking next to you, you always have the Most High and Christ with you. And that's the lesson today. To always remember that when you're lonely, when you're sad, when you're desperate, when you feel depressed. These are moments in time when you feel alone, when you're scared, of course. But Scripture clearly shows us that the Most High is always with us, and it's for us to interact with Him. Okay, He's always interacting with us, providing us lessons, blessings, and just joy or experience, or even sometimes sadness. But nonetheless, the Most High is always with us on this journey. Let's start today in the book of Psalms, chapter 1, and let's start in verse 1.
The book of Psalms, chapter 1 and verse 1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly.
So blessed, the Most High is going to bless the man that doesn't take bad advice. Okay, the Most High is going to bless the man that doesn't walk in the takes bad counsel. Somebody telling him or her the wrong things to do. Okay, read that again.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful.
So the Most High is telling us He's going to bless us if we don't place ourselves among people that are no good. No good in counsel and no good in their own lives. Okay? And you always want a blessing from the Most High. You always want a blessing from the Most High, and one of those blessings that you can get is guidance. But what the Most High is trying to show us is that for Him to give you proper guidance, you must remove yourself from those that give you bad advice, bad wisdom, and just badness on the whole. Okay, if you want to attend to His words, you have to remove your ears from the words of others that are not speaking His word, His language, or His law. Read on, my brother.
Verse 2. But his delight is in the law of Yahweh.
And that's what you want. You want your delight to be in the law of the Most High, and the people around you that are giving you advice, that are having conversations with you. You want that person, for that person's delight to be in what?
His delight is in the law of Yahweh.
Exactly, the law. The persons or persons that you keep company with, their delight should also be in the law of the Most High. Read on, my brother.
And His law doth he meditate day and night.
Right, and that's what you're supposed to do in order to make correct decisions, whether they be something that's upcoming or spontaneous. You have to have your delight and your meditation in the law of the Most High. So he says, but his delight is in the law of the Most High, and His law doth he meditate day and night. So think about it. A lot of times, day and night, what we think about is evil, madness, foolishness, lustful things. But the Most High is saying, for us to be blessed, then we have to do what? Delight in His law and meditate in His law both day and night. Apply His law to life situations. When you're making a decision, it should be based upon the law, not necessarily an emotion or bad advice from people around you, whether that's family, friends, or co-workers, or whatever. Okay? So that's what the Most High is trying to show us. Let's go from here. Matter of fact, read verse 3.
Psalms 1 and 3. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water.
So now, if your delight and your meditation is in the law of the Most High, if you meditate in His law, you're going to be grounded. That's what the scriptures is telling you. You're going to be grounded. You're going to have a foundation. A lot of us don't have a foundation because we don't meditate on the Most High's law. So we're kind of loose. Sometimes we make the good decision, sometimes we make the bad decision, but that simply means that we're not grounded. Okay, we're kind of lukewarm. We're not right. We're not ready. But he says what? And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water. Meaning what? You're strong. You got nourishment. Your roots are in a good place. Read on.
That bringeth forth his fruit in his season.
Mm-hmm.
His leaf also shall not wither. And whatsoever he doth shall prosper.
Whatsoever he doth shall prosper. Why? Because he's got a good foundation. He's grounded, and his roots they're strong in the Most High, so he can grow and produce and have fruits. Okay, read the next verse, my brother.
Verse 4. The ungodly are not so.
And that's the point. The ungodly are not so. What is the ungodly? Those that are not in the law of the Most High. Those that don't meditate, don't think, don't consider the law of the Most High. That's the ungodly, plain and simple. So don't think when you hear or see the word ungodly, you're going to think of some other nation or some other people. No, that could be you if you're not meditated, rooted, and grounded in the law of the Most High. And that's why the Most High says in verse 1, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. Those that are not into the law, knowing the law, meditating on the law to give you good advice. Read that again, my brother.
Psalms 1 and 4. The ungodly are not so.
Exactly.
But are like the chaff which the wind driveth away.
They're wishy-washy. They're all over the place. Okay, there's no foundation in them. That's why they're like chaff. They just wash away. They don't have that solid foundation. They're not rooted like that tree in the midst of water. You know, the nourishment that they're getting is from what? Social media, friends, what they think. You know what I'm saying? Liberal arts. You understand what I'm saying? Just not anything that is a surefire source like the Most High and His Word and His law. So that's how the Most High wants us to be grounded, positive, rooted, strong. Meaning what? Somebody could come to you with some foolishness, and what do? You reject them. Not only do you reject them, you remove yourself from them. That's what the scriptures is showing you. A lot of us allow people in our lives that are not good for us. And a lot of times it's because it's family, it's friends, it's old friends, old acquaintances. But a lot of times they're still into their foolishness. They're still into the world. And the Most High is showing you, if you feel that you're not grounded and you don't have a solid foundation, you don't know where you are, who you are in the world, it's because of your company, those that are around you, and then what they have imparted to you in your head. So you got to remove yourself from that situation and surround yourselves with those that are of the mind of the Most High, of the law of the Most High. You understand? That's what you need to do. That's what we all need to do. We all need to do that, because even those of us that have been in this word for a minute, sometimes we slip. Sometimes we slip because of company, old friends, old family coming with their nonsense. Now you need to be grounded and remove yourself from that situation and produce good fruit. Leaving from there, we go to the book of Psalms 119, 105. Psalms 119, 105. It's so important for us to remember that even if we're not in the temple, even if we're not with brothers, sisters, those that are in the word and in the law, we're still being tried and tested. Life is a test. Life is a trial. Okay, so you're always on stage, my brothers and sisters. You're always on stage. The camera, the lights are always on you. It's just that you don't know it. Okay, you don't know it. Angels are always around you. Demons are always around you. Yes, guardian angels are around you, but so are demons. Okay, and sometimes these demons will manifest in people around you, and that's the whole point. You know, they don't necessarily have your back. They don't necessarily have good intentions for you. Not everybody. Some people are sincere in their wickedness. And what do I mean by that? They think that their way is the right way, plain and simple. And they think that their way, you know, be it negative or whatever, is not negative. They think that, okay, this is what my mama taught me, my grandmama taught me, and this is right. This is what I learned in college. This is what I got my degree in, and this is why I'm so good, right? Rubbish. This book right here, the Bible, the Most High's Word, is the only true source of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to get you grounded. Okay, so we go to the book of Psalms 119, 105, and it says this. Read, my brother.
Psalms chapter 119 and verse 105. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet.
Can you see under your feet? No, you can't. But wherever there's darkness, this word is light unto it, even under your feet. And not just under your feet for a light, but to guide you so you can see where you're going. My word is what?
Thy word is a lamp unto my feet.
To put you in the right direction so you can walk the right way, so you could do the right thing and don't find yourself in trouble over and over again because you're not grounded, you're not rooted. Read.
And a light unto my path.
A light unto my path so that you can have proper direction. Okay, the word of the Most High it's not only law, it's counsel, it's wisdom. Okay, it's sound advice. That's what the word of the Most High is. And if you learn it and if you digest the word of the Most High, then you're good. Okay, you have a good source to make proper decisions. A lot of us make decisions, and we make a decision not based upon knowledge, wisdom, understanding, but emotion. You can't go by your emotion, because your emotion might be guided by demons around you, in you, or in your ear span. Okay, a lot of us, when we're making decisions, we want to shoot it out there to everybody. What do you think? What do you think? That's what gets us in trouble. All right. And a lot of times we're in trouble because we're not grounded enough within ourselves. We're not sure enough within ourselves that we are capable of making decisions, especially when it's big decisions. But the idea is for us to be grounded in the Most High's word, each individual, so that each individual can make the proper decision. He says what? Thy word is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. That's beautiful. That's wisdom. Okay? That is simple wisdom. You can't see under your feet. It's showing you that no matter what, the words of the Most High can guide you, and the laws of the Most High can guide you. You see, right now, this world needs guidance. It's in darkness, gross darkness. Okay, but in order for you to see, you must have a source. You can't say your source is, what your homeboy told you, or necessarily what your grandmother told you. It might not be the best. Okay, if it's not coming from here, it ain't right. Plain and simple. Okay, so let's leave from here, go to the book. Let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 5 verse 33. Deuteronomy chapter 5 verse 33, because the Most High gave us, and not only did he give us, let's say what he actually did. He imparted wisdom to his people. Okay, he didn't give it to everybody. Everybody has it, but they don't have the true value of it. They don't have the foundation of it. They use it. They use the Most High and his word like anything else. There's no value. They don't value it. But the Most High gave us, the nation of Israel, the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, and not just the so-called blacks, Native and Native Americans, my brothers. Israel is everywhere. Okay, you have Israel in Canada. Matter of fact, you have the so-called natives in Canada right now. The Pope was just there apologizing to them because of what the Canadians did to them in the beginning, how they forced them to go to their schools and to be introduced to their ways, taking them from their tribal ways. Okay, the Pope just did that this week. But guess what? In America, they had over 400 schools that did the same thing. Okay, took our brothers and sisters from the reservations and did what? Indoctrinated them with European philosophy. Indoctrinated them with the ways of the world. Okay, indoctrinated them with liberalism. And that's what this country runs on, liberalism. You understand? So that's not the wisdom of the Most High. And if you look at our brothers and sisters on the reservation right now, what do you find? You find a lot of crime. You definitely find a lot of alcoholism. There's a lot of our brothers on the reservations. They're alcoholics. And it's a shame, but this is what the world has done to them. Remember, these people are destroyed. We have a nation, our nation within a nation of people that are destroyed because they don't have the word of the Most High. And those that did, it was taken from them. Okay, so we can speak about so-called black man coming to America on the slave ships and how his nationality was ripped from him. We can speak about our Latino brothers in Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Mexico, and even the ones that were in California. Okay, our Latino brothers and sisters that we love, but the same thing happened to them. When the Spaniards came, what did they do? They robbed them, they raped them, and they took everything from them. Spaniards saw how wealthy they were, but even though they didn't regard the wealth, the rubies and so forth, and the diamonds, they didn't regard it. But when the Europeans came and saw that, they went nuts. Okay, and what did they do? They tried to enslave the people. They did enslave the people. And when those people weren't working fast enough for them, they brought our other brothers from Africa, right? That happened, like I said, in Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico. It happened in Mexico. You have a lot of so-called black Mexicans, but you also have Mexicans of, what they would call the brownish complexion and so forth. You have those that are of a very light complexion. A lot of them are still Israelites, brothers, and that's wisdom. And we got to walk in that wisdom. We got to stop walking in our emotions, how you feel. Okay, it's not about how you feel or how I feel. It's about the word of the Most High. Go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 33.
Deuteronomy chapter 5 and verse 33. Ye shall walk in all the ways which Yahweh your power hath commanded you.
We're supposed to walk in the ways in which the Most High has commanded us, the commandments that He has given us, the wisdom, the counsel that He's given us, not our emotions. A lot of our brothers inside the nation of Israel today, they're very prejudiced against their own people. That's a damn shame, man. The white man did it to you. You could turn around and do it to your own people. Prejudice against your own people. Why? Because you're not reading that again. Read that again.
Ye shall walk in all the ways which Yahweh your power hath commanded.
You're not walking in the ways of the Most High. And that's the problem. You're emotional. You know, in the beginning, because we had just come into the knowledge of who we were, you know, we had different programs and different pamphlets that said, you know, real Jews are black. Yes, the real Jews are black, but the real Jews come in many colors. That's one thing we got to understand and walk in that. Okay, we have, like I said, our brothers in the Caribbean. We have our brothers in these different so-called Spanish islands, but they only call Spanish only because they were invaded by the Spaniards. And also our brothers and sisters in these lands, they got to stop being so proud of, you know, of what your slave master did to you. The language that you speak, Spanish, was not given to you, but forced on you. Okay, it was forced on you. Just like in Jamaica, you know, in the beginning, the Spaniards were running Jamaica until the British came. So if the British didn't come along, we would have been speaking Spanish in Jamaica. But nonetheless, Spanish, English, both of them came from our slave masters. You understand that? You got to get to the root of things and stop going by how we feel. The way you feel will destroy you. Okay, it says what? In 33, ye shall walk in all the ways which the Most High your power hath commanded you. Read on, my brother.
That ye may live.
That ye may live. That's why you're supposed to do it. That ye may live. Because guess what? We ain't living right now. We're dead. But not only are we dead, the Most High is killing us because we're not walking in His ways. We're not taking His advice. We're taking advice of, you know, Dr. Phil and all kind of fools, right? All of these so-called talk shows, all of these programs that we have in the air, people that we esteem to be smart and knowledgeable and have some kind of wisdom. But what are they doing? They're regurgitating what they were taught in college. That's all they're doing. Liberalism. And liberalism is what kills a man. A man has to have some sort of foundation. Read on, my brother.
That ye may live, and that it may be well with you, and that ye may prolong your days in the land which ye shall possess.
If you what? Walk in the ways of the Most High. Not your emotions, not necessarily what you learned. You might be in debt because of student debt right now, but you just unfortunately fell into a trap that a lot of us did. But nothing wrong with a man gaining knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Nothing even wrong with a man going to college and getting a degree to get a better position so he can provide for his family. At one point in time, that wasn't taught to us that way. It was told to us, don't do that. Okay, and then a lot of us became what? Dependent on the system. A lot of us, what happened to us? Our families broke apart because we weren't able to support our families and we didn't have the right foundation. You understand? There's a lot of Israelite families out there right now broken up. And a lot of them were in this word in the 90s, in the 2000s, early 2000s. And because they didn't have the right foundation, they weren't told how to walk properly in the words, wisdom, and ways of the Most High. They walked away from the Most High. That's sad. That is very sad. You understand what I'm saying? But today is a new day. This is the day that the Most High, our power, Yahweh, has made. And today is a day when we can start over and do what? Walk in the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding and counsel of the Most High, our power. That's what we're supposed to do. Not follow, not run to different sources. Don't think because, people have their degrees from Harvard and these Cornell and these so-called prestigious institutions that they have any sense. They ain't got no sense. Okay, what they have is a liberal mind. What they've been taught in college is, how to think what they call outside the box. Okay, and outside the box meaning what? Don't have a foundation. Think more liberal. Be more loose. Okay, try things, and there's a lot of experimentation in college because you're trying things. Okay, so now you're not the man or the woman that you was before. And I'm not speaking against a college education necessarily. I'm speaking against not having knowledge of the Most High to apply to everything, to add to everything. Okay, so let's leave from there, and we're gonna go somewhere today that we don't often go to. We're gonna go to the book of Jonah. And we don't often go to the book of Jonah, but I wanted to go into the book of Jonah today because the book of Jonah shows us that a lot of us are not really doing what the Most High told us to do. A lot of us are just going by how we feel, which is our downfall. Okay, so we're going to go to the book of Jonah, and we're going to start at verse 1. Jonah chapter 1, verse 1. Hit it, my brother.
Jonah chapter 1,
Yes, sir.
and verse 5. The mariners were afraid.
Jonah 1 and 1.
Oh, 1 and 1?
Yes, sir.
Jonah chapter 1 and verse 1. Now the word of the Most High came unto Jonah, the son of Amittai, saying, Arise, go to Nineveh, the great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness is come up before me. But Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish from the presence of Yahweh, and went down to Joppa. And he found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare thereof, and went down into it, to go with them unto Tarshish from the presence of Yahweh.
Right. And the thing that we got to understand is that when the Most High commands you to do something, there's a reason why he does that. So now when it says the word of the Most High came unto Jonah, the son of Amittai, first of all, Jonah was an Israelite, okay? Saying, arise to go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it. Now you might, first thing you think, well, why would he want to send an Israelite to a nation of that's not Israelites? Because there were Israelites living there. That's why. Okay, it's plain and simple. And on the next level, guess what? The Most High is the one that builds nations. The Most High will build up a nation and give it wisdom to build it up to where he wants it to be, like he did with Egypt, and then destroy it to show his power. Okay, but in the case of the Most High sending Jonah to Nineveh, yes, there were Israelites there. So read from verse 2 again.
Jonah 1 and verse 2. Arise, go to Nineveh, that great city, and cry against it, for their wickedness has come up before me. But Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish.
Jonah rose up to flee unto Tarshish. So Jonah was what? Not walking towards the Most High, but running from the Most High. Running from the commands of the Most High. That's what Jonah was doing, and there's a reason why he did it. But let's read on.
From the presence of Yahweh, and went down to Joppa, and he found a ship going to Tarshish. So he paid the fare thereof, and went down into it, to go with them unto Tarshish from the presence of Yahweh.
Now, usually when you look on, you see the word Tarshish. Tarshish has come to mean Spain, but Tarshish actually at one point also meant like Lebanon. All right. So Jonah basically was going in the opposite direction of where the Most High wanted him to go. That's the whole point. He's running away from the Most High instead of walking with the Most High. Read on.
Verse 4. But Yahweh sent out a great wind into the sea, and there was a mighty tempest in the sea, so that the ship was like to be broken.
So Jonah is running away from the Most High, and what is the Most High doing? The Most High is fighting Jonah. Okay, but the other one sent out a great wind into the sea. Again, I read that and understand that this is the Most High using his power to do what? To get Jonah to do the right thing. Okay, so now today when we see incidents where a great wind or great fire or anything happens, because we don't use proper wisdom, we're gonna say oh, that's Mother Nature, or that's this and that, but that's the Most High. It says, but the other one sent out a great wind into the sea, and what? And there was a mighty tempest into the sea. The Most High created that because all those elements belong to him. Okay, read on.
Jonah 1 and 5. Then the mariners were afraid, and cried every man unto his God.
Because they understood that if something like this is happening, it's usually the work of in their minds it will be a god or their god, so they were gonna pray to their God, right? But they understand that this is not the power of man. This is not an incident or just something that's just happening. They understood that back then. They were closer in understanding to nature, but they just didn't understand fully that this was really the Most High. Read on.
And cast forth the wares that were in the ship into the sea, to lighten it of them. But Jonah was going down into the sides of the ship, and he lay and was fast asleep.
He was fast asleep in that ship. Nothing bothering Jonah. It's like, as long as I'm getting up out of here, I'm not going to Nineveh, I'm all right. You understand what I'm saying? But this is to show us a lesson in life that, look, if the Most High wants you to do something, you're going to do it. Okay? He might send a tempest in your life, a strong wind in your life, to redirect you from what you're thinking to do. Okay? Read on.
Verse 6. So the shipmaster came to him and said unto him, What meanest thou, O sleeper?
Why are you sleeping, man? We about to sink up in here. Why are you sleeping? Go ahead.
Arise and call upon thy God.
You see, and that's the mindset they had. Not call upon just any God. They called upon their God. It didn't work. Since they call upon your God, see if it works. Read on.
If so be that God will think upon us, that we perish not.
Right, read on. So in the beginning, those mariners did not believe in the Most High. Read on.
And they said every one to his fellow, Come, and let us cast lots, that we may know for whose cause this evil is upon us.
So they knew that this was evil, and they knew that it came from a powerful source. Read.
So they cast lots, and the lot fell upon Jonah.
The lot fell upon Jonah, the one that was sound asleep, not having any care. Read.
Then said they unto him, Tell us, we pray thee, for whose cause this evil is upon us? What is thine occupation? Whence comest thou? What is thy country? And of what people art thou?
Go ahead.
And he said unto them, I am in Hebrew.
I am in Hebrew, because he wasn't one of them. Okay? He wasn't one of them, and he didn't worship all these other gods. He wasn't of the polytheistic mindset that, let's just call on somebody. You understand? Read on.
I am in Hebrew, and I fear Yahweh, the power of heaven, which hath made the sea and the dry land.
So he feared the true creator, the Most High, Yahweh. Read on.
Then were the men exceedingly afraid, and said unto him, Why hast thou done this? For the men knew that he fled from the presence of Yahweh, because he had told them.
Because he had told them. Right? So now they understand that, wait a minute, man, you're a Hebrew, when you're running from the Most High. What do you mean? Why they wanted to know basically, why are you amongst us? You understand? Read on.
Verse 11. Then said they unto him, What shall we do unto thee, that the sea may be calm unto us? For the sea wrought and was tempestuous.
And even though these men in the beginning didn't believe in the Most High, and you're going to see in a few verses down that they come to believe in the Most High, their minds were more towards nature. They said, Then said they unto him, What shall we do unto thee, that the sea may be calm unto us? Now, to some people today, when they read that, they would call that ignorance, but in reality, that's a proper way to think. There's cause and action to everything, right? There's a cause, there's a reaction, right? So they're saying, wait a minute, where did this tempest and storm come from? It came from somewhere. So they say, okay, let's find out. And it so happened that the lot fell on Jonah. So they're saying to him, what shall we do unto thee to calm the storm? Read on.
Verse 12. And he said unto them, Take me up, and cast me forth into the sea. So shall the sea be calm unto you. For I know that for my sake this great tempest is upon you.
And that's wisdom. That's wisdom. Simply put, it's my fault. The Most High is mad at me because why? I'm running away from him. Running away from doing what he wants me to do. So he's caused a great storm. And I want you to see that what you do in life can't affect others. The Most High is really causing the storm because of Jonah. But the mariners around him were being affected. Now they're afraid. You understand? So when the Most High wants to work with you, yes, he will cause havoc in the lives of others to get your attention and to get you, for you to do what he wants you to do. You can't run. You can't run from the Most High. You should be walking to the Most High and with the Most High. Read on.
Verse 13. Nevertheless, the men rowed hard to bring it into land.
So they didn't want to do that to Jonah. They didn't want to throw him overboard. So they rowed harder. Read on.
But they could not, for the sea wrought and was tempestuous against them.
The Most High was fighting against that vessel. But in reality, the Most High was fighting against Jonah. He was the problem. Okay, running away from the Most High and not listening to what the Most High told him to do. Read on.
Wherefore they cried unto Yahweh and said, We beseech thee.
Now hold on. Let's not skip over that. Let's not skip over that. Because in the beginning, they were what? Praying to their God, right? They were all over the place, and every man praying to his God. But read that again.
Wherefore they cried unto Yahweh.
They cried unto the Most High. Now they know him. Now they know, okay, this is the Most High doing this. Okay, read on.
And said, we beseech thee,
Now they're begging the Most High. That's amazing. Read on.
O Yahweh, we beseech thee, let us not perish for this man's life.
Right, and that's the thing that they wanted to really put out there, that even though we're going to throw him overboard, like he said, don't call us, don't make us to be murderers. You understand? Because they saw the power of the Most High in the storm, and they didn't want him to turn around and destroy them, basically. Read on.
And lay not upon us innocent blood.
Exactly. Lay not upon us innocent blood. Read on.
For thou, O Yahweh, hast done it as it pleased.
Exactly. And now they see. Now they understand. Now these men were of another nation. But that's what the Most High does. He can use you to gain believers even of another nation. And that's what just happened. Okay, but you have to be right. And even though Jonah wasn't right, just him being there and them seeing that the storm, the power of the Most High was at work there, they started to believe in the Most High. Okay, the Most High says what? We are ambassadors of him. We're representatives of him. So what does that mean? We have to act right, whether in your garment or not. Okay? Because what was Jonah doing? He was basically hiding, right? They had to ask him, who are you and what are you? Then he had to pronounce and proclaim to them, I'm in Hebrew. So I say to you, whether or not you're in your garment, whether you look like you're Hebrew, whether you should have on fringes, but sometimes you don't, or sometimes your fringes are of a certain way where other people might not know what it means. The light is still on you. You're still on stage all the time. So we shouldn't be acting foolish out there at no time. We should be ready to speak the Most High's word, represent the Most High, and look like we can play the part. Read on.
Verse 15. So they took up Jonah and cast him forth into the sea, and the sea ceased from her raging. Then the men feared Yahweh exceedingly, and offered a sacrifice unto Yahweh, and made vows.
Imagine that. Imagine what they took up Jonah, threw him overboard, but they were still so afraid that they offered a sacrifice unto the Most High. Now they're believers, they're converts. Before they were believing in their God, but their God had no power to stop that storm, right? They saw the power of the Most High, and what did they do? They offered a sacrifice unto the Most High and made what? Vows. They made vows to do what? Believe in him. Worship him. You understand? That's the vow that they made. Read.
Verse 17. Now Yahweh hath prepared a great fish to swallow up Jonah.
And the word that's used here is fish. Usually when you see people break this down, they talk about a whale or this and that. It said what? A great fish. And a lot of times that's why people don't come to this chapter or come to this book, because the believability when it comes to people is not there. But this is the Most High. We just saw how he just created a great storm, right? How he did great things, and not only that, not only was he able to start it, he was able to stop it. So now when it comes to the part of this great fish, you have to believe in the Most High. Because you're going to say, wait a minute, it's a fish. He went into his mouth, so the next thing that should happen to him is he should be swallowed, right? Digested, right? It should be food. Fish food, right? It should be fish food, right? The will and the way of the Most High is with the Most High. The Most High can save you, preserve you in any fashion he wants to. The power of the Most High is amazing, brothers. Okay, so even though you're reading this, you're using your mind of today. You're using your limited mind, our limited minds that say, wait a minute, a fish. He goes into a fish, shouldn't he be dead? That's what your mind is telling you. Who made the fish? That's all I got to ask you. Who made that fish? Okay. So if the scripture says that the Most High, I'm reading it to you, now the other one had prepared, and the key word here is prepared. Just like how you prepare your fish, you use a little, what you use, some flour, we're not talking about cooking no fish. The Most High had made. Do you understand what that word means? Prepared to you and I means what our simple hands could do, because we're limited. It says what? Read that again.
Now Yahweh had prepared.
He made. Read on.
A great fish to swallow up Jonah.
Exactly. Read.
And Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights.
And again, you read that part and say, wait a minute now. What man can survive in a fish for 3 days and 3 nights? They should be fish bait. right? It should be fully digested at that point, right? Again, you can't use your limited mind when it comes to the Most High. You can't, because you have to think of everything else that the Most High did to really understand the work of the Most High, the power of the Most High. Okay, when you look at the sun, when did the sun, or has the sun ever shut off or took a break, took a 5-minute recess? You ever heard of that? It might go down to you or set to you, but in reality, is it setting? Nah. The sun has never stopped since the creation on the 4th day. Think about that. Think about that. The sun has not stopped doing its job since its creation on the 4th day. It's been shining since then. The sun that you see now is the sun that was shining during the time of Adam and Eve. Okay? And it was there before them. Remember that. Before Adam and Eve, the sun was there. But it was there for them to see. From that time, during the time of Abraham. Remember that? Can you imagine how long ago that was? Long time ago. That sun has been shining and doing its job for thousands of years. Thousands of years. Okay? So again, the reason why I'm saying that to you is to basically show you the power of the Most High. So when the scripture says here, the Most High had prepared or made a great fish, that's exactly what he did. What was inside that fish, Ahchaad, cannot tell you. Okay, I can't tell you if there was a seat for Jonah, a bed for Jonah, a secret bedroom. I can't tell you that. But I do know this. I have faith in the Most High that what he writes is true. Okay, so we can go into this another time because it's beautiful history, and I'm careful not to use the word story. It's beautiful history that we can go into. And this takes place prior to the 10 tribes going into captivity, because then when you go into the Apocrypha, you go into Tobit and so forth, it talks about Jonah. And this, what the Most High told Jonah to do, actually came to pass during the time of Tobit. You understand? And again, why did the Most High send Jonah to Nineveh? Because there were Israelites there. Now, what the Israelites did in repenting and fasting, the Ninevites did, the Assyrians did. You understand? Because Nineveh is in Assyria. And the king did it as you read further. You understand? But the whole point that this is illustrating is that instead of walking with the Most High, this brother chose to run from the Most High. And the question is this: when the Most High calls us, do we at some point run? The question is this: in the beginning, do you walk with him, but then when it gets too serious, do you run away from him? Because you saw what he did to Jonah. He caused hell, caused storm, tempest, in order to make Jonah do what he wanted him to do. Everybody understand that? So sometimes that hell in your life, that tempest, that storm in your life is the Most High fighting against you doing what you want to do so that you can do what he wants you to do. Okay? Sometimes if you feel like you're trapped, like Jonah probably did in that fish, he was in there for 3 days and 3 nights. That was the will of the Most High. You understand? So if you feel like you're trapped in a situation in your life, that's the Most High. Again, the proper thing to do is to communicate with the Most High. The right thing to do is to ask the Most High, what's his will? Can anybody tell me this? What is the will of the Most High? What is the will of the Most High for you? What does he want from you? Nobody knows. We all know. We all know. We all know. That's a rhetorical question. This is just something for you to think about. We all know what he wants from us. Okay? We all know what he wants from us, and it's just a matter of us doing the right thing. And sometimes we play games. Sometimes we forget. Sometimes we ignore. Okay? The Most High has given us a command. The Most High has given us directions. And sometimes we're so about it. We're about it, right? I know nobody talks like that no more, but I'm saying it anyway. Right? I said it, so what? Right? Sometimes we're so into it, but what happens is that we lose our might and vigor. We lose our stamina. You know what I'm saying? Or something is distracting us. Something else has come up. You understand? You know how many men in this word have fell out of this word because they met a woman? It sounds funny to you, my brothers and sisters, but it's happened to the best of us, okay? And as the scriptures prophesy, it's going to happen again. A lot of brothers have fell out because they fell in love, right? Because they found something else that distracted them. And let me ask you a question. If the Most High has power to direct and to put you in positions where he wants you to put you, don't you think that Satan could do the same thing? But what he does is a distraction. You understand? It's not what is for you. The Most High is for you constantly. So now when I say to you, what is the will of the Most High, there is a direct answer. And when you go to the book of 1 Thessalonians, I think it's 1 Thessalonians 4. Go to 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 3. And this is a question that we need to ask ourselves, not just now, but all the time, so that we can remind ourselves, so we can gauge ourselves and see where we are. What is the will of the Most High for us? As a body, as individuals, what is his will? And you should be able to answer this question automatically. First Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 3. 1
Thessalonians chapter 4 and verse 3. For this is the will of Yahweh, even your sanctification.
Even your sanctification. That's the will of the Most High. You being separated, you being cleansed and separated from the rest of the evil on this earth. You understand? Just like how the scripture said the Most High sanctified the seventh day, he cleansed it and separated it, took it to himself. The will of the Most High is to sanctify you, to separate you from all the wickedness that's in this world. But now you have the will of the Most High, and then you have the will of Jonah. Jonah was running, and a lot of us are running from this right here. Because in order to be sanctified or separated, you're being separated from what you call life, joy, a good experience, a good feeling. You understand? Read that again.
1 Thessalonians 4 and 3. For this is the will of Yahweh, even your sanctification, that ye should abstain from fornication.
Right. That's the will of the Most High for you, brothers and sisters. Your sanctification, your cleansing, and your separation from all that's evil, so that you can be cleansed to what? Walk with him. To walk with him. Read.
That every one of you should know how to possess his vessel in sanctification and honor.
What is your vessel? That body that he's given you. Okay? That the vessel that the Most High is talking about is that body that he's given you, and his will for you is that you should do what? Know how to possess it in sanctification and honor. Not to be ashamed. Not to be full of doubt. Not to be, so embarrassed of what you're doing with that vessel that you're ashamed to look up to him, to pray to him, or to be amongst your brethren and your sisterin. You understand? So when it says when I ask you what is the will of the Most High, it's important that you understand that the will of the Most High is for you to be cleansed and separated from the evil of the world. Read on, my brother.
That every one of you should know how to possess his vessel in sanctification and honor.
What does that mean? Self-control. The Most High wants us to have self-control. The Most High wants us to be proud. Okay? When he's cleansed you and separated you, he wants you to remain that way. In the beginning, we were reading in the book of Psalms 1 and 1, and it said, blessed is a man that is not caught up in corruptness, basically, with the workers of evil and darkness. Okay? Then it went on to say in Psalms 119, 105, that the Most High's word is a lamp for our feet. But all of this is illustrating how he's going to correct you and make you right. You didn't know how to walk before. You didn't know where you were going before. Now he cleanses you and he separates you, and his word becomes a lamp to you, so you know how to possess your vessel and where to walk and how to walk. All right? You're going to find yourself, and you should find yourself, you should make yourself walk away from what was evil before, what was bad before. That might mean Company might mean friends, it might mean family. You understand? But anything that you do, you should not be running away from the Most High. Don't be like Jonah to run away from the Most High, because eventually he turned around, right? No, the Most High forced him to turn around. He didn't just turn around on his own. The Most High had to really whip him. You understand? And it's for us to stop the punishment that we're going through because we're running from the Most High. Okay? He wants to sanctify you and separate you. Sometimes when you're sanctified and separated, you know how you feel? Like you don't belong. Yeah, you don't belong. You don't belong to this world anymore. You don't belong to your friends anymore, your family anymore, that still want to do what they were doing in the world. You're not of this world anymore. You're just in it. You understand? So you might feel away. You might feel lonely. You might feel sad. You might feel like there's something wrong with you. No, there's nothing wrong with you. There's something wrong with what you were doing before and those that are still doing it. You understand? So it might feel good every now and then to do what? To run away. Nah, I just want to just, kind of just chill for a minute, right? Look what happened to Jonah. You don't want that to happen to you. Okay? You don't want the Most High power to be a storm and a tempest in your life. You don't want that. Okay, so now I want you to remember this chapter and verse, 1 Thessalonians chapter 4. We started at verse 3. If anybody asks you, or if you question yourself at any time what is the will of the Most High for you, you should be able to go back to this chapter and verse and know what his will is for you. Okay? And his will is what? Your sanctification, that you should abstain from fornication. Understand that, so that you are able to walk with him, so that you are able to be right and not filled with doubt. Okay, let's leave from here and let's go to the book of let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 13 verse 4. It's not an easy thing, this walk is not easy, and anybody tells you that it's easy, they're not really walking. They're not really on this journey. They might just be hanging out. Okay, they just hanging out, and when a tough time comes, you ain't gonna find them. Okay, because they just hanging out. When you hanging out and the police come or some nonsense happen, what do? You out of there, right? Right. So in this journey, that's not what we do. In this journey, we go through what the Most High wants us to go through. Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 4. Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 4.
Deuteronomy chapter 13 and verse 4. You shall walk after Yahweh your power and fear him.
Right. That's very, very, very important. Read it again.
You shall walk after Yahweh your power and fear him and keep his commandments and obey his voice, and you shall serve him and cleave unto him.
Now, if you remember the words of Jonah, he said, I am a Hebrew and I fear the Most High. That's what Jonah said. Remember that? But the kind of fear that he was having at the time was not the fear that the Most High is talking about. Okay? I'm afraid that he wants me to go over there and tell them Ninevites. That's the kind of fear he was having. You understand? And that's not the fear the Most High is talking about when he says fear him. When you go to the book, hold that and go to the book of Proverbs chapter 8, verse 13. See, the Most High he doesn't want us shaken. He doesn't want us to be in that type of fear. The fear of the Most High is very clean. And Proverbs chapter 8, verse 13 says this. Excuse me.
Proverbs chapter 8, verse 13. The fear of Yahweh is to hate evil, pride, and arrogance.
That's the kind of fear that the Most High is talking about. And it says what the fear of the Most High is to hate evil. You're supposed to hate evil in any form. You're supposed to hate pride. But the problem is we have so much pride that we kind of hang on with a little bit, right? You're supposed to hate that within yourselves or even in others. Okay? You're supposed to hate arrogancy or the arrogant way. You can immediately recognize somebody that's arrogant, right? And you're like, I don't want to be around this person, right? But what if you are that person? What if you on occasions become that person? Hate what you're doing and do the right thing, man. Okay? Don't just accept it like, oh well, this is just me. That's a cop-out. You're not walking right. when you accept your old ways, the ways of your old man and your old woman, you're not walking right. You're not even walking with the Most High. You're kind of by yourself, like Jonah was. Okay? Which means that look out for it. It's coming. The storm is coming in your life. It's coming in your life. Read on, my brother.
And the evil way, and the froward mouth do I hate.
The Most High doesn't like a mouth full of pride and words that are not righteous, not clean. So the reason I'm reading this and the reason why we're reading this is because we're supposed to be able to recognize these things not only in others but even more importantly in ourselves. If these things are in us, fear, if you don't fear evil, let me say that the right way. If you don't hate evil, pride and arrogancy, watch out for yourself, because the Most High is going to get all that bad behavior out of you. You understand? Whether by you just, doing the right thing or by him coming into your life and causing an uproar. You understand? If you see somebody that's arrogant, you should say within yourself, I don't want to be that person. But if you see that within yourself, how do you escape that? Let's go back to Deuteronomy chapter 13, verse 4.
Deuteronomy chapter 13 and verse 4. You shall walk after Yahweh your power.
That's how you escape that. Self-examination. You find things that are not right, things about you that you don't like. Look to a higher power, the higher power, the Most High, and walk after his way. Instead of walking how you did before, walk after his way. Read on.
And fear him, and keep his commandments.
Right.
And obey his voice, and you shall serve him, and cleave unto him.
And the key thing here is to do what? Cleave unto him, not to run away from him. Because Jonah basically, not only was he being given the command to do what the Most High was told him to do, he was being tried. So a lot of times when we're being tried, we run. You don't necessarily have to run with your physical legs, feet, in your mind, in your devotion, in your decision, you're running. Okay? The Most High said what? Cleave unto him. In other words, just like how a man will leave his mother and his father and do what? Cleave unto his wife. Right? You and I have to leave our old lives, our old ways, our old way of thinking, and cleave unto the way of the Most High. Like I said before, and I will say it again, your decisions should be made based upon the knowledge, wisdom, understanding, the commandments, and the counsel of the Most High. Understand? That's just simple. That's just the way that the Most High wants it. How are you really serving the Most High or walking with him if you're making decisions that counter his law, that's the opposite or in opposition to his law or his knowledge, his wisdom? If you're not walking like Christ or walking with Christ, how are you Christ-like? You're not speaking the way he spoke, okay? You're not making decisions that he made. You understand? How are you Christ-like? And that's something very, very, very important for us to understand, because if we don't understand that, we're not doing what the Most High told us to do. We're not walking with the Most High. Okay? I want us to really, really meditate on that. And now I want us to think back to the times when we made decisions that were contrary to the Most High. I've done it. I've made decisions that was against the Most High. But you know what I did? I talked myself into it. I knew better. I talked myself into it. I made reasons why. I found a way to make it look good or feel good, but it didn't look good or feel good after I made that decision. You understand? So now in coming into the true wisdom, true meaning of the Most High, we can't do that, because you don't know how long you have on this earth or when the Most High is going to destroy this place. Okay? So we're in Deuteronomy chapter 13. Read verse 4 again, my brother.
Deuteronomy chapter 13 and verse 4. You shall walk after Yahweh your power and fear him and go ahead. Keep his commandments and obey his voice, and you shall serve him and cleave unto him.
Cleave unto him, my brothers and sisters. Cleave unto him. When life decisions hit you, like when something really comes at you, that's the time for you to meditate on the way of the Most High. That's the time for you to find yourself only with the Most High, right? Or somebody of like mind. That could be your husband, that could be your brother, a sister, right? That's the time when you're supposed to cleave unto the Most High. Because guess what? He is the one trying you. He's the one bringing the storm and the tempest in your life. So you have to react accordingly. If you don't cleave to the Most High, then you're going to be out there in the storm for a while. That's what happens. All right, so let's move from here to the book of Genesis chapter 5, verse 21. Genesis chapter 5, verse 21. Every time we are faced with situations, we need to find a system to judge ourselves and examine ourselves if we're making the right decisions. And that system is the Most High's word. You understand? You shouldn't be asking yourself, what would such and such do? No. What you're asking yourself now is, what would the Most High want me to do? You understand? Genesis chapter 5, verse 21.
Genesis chapter 5 and verse 21. And Enoch lived 65 years and begat Methuselah.
So it's when Enoch was 65 years old, he had a son named Methuselah. Read on.
And Enoch walked with Yahweh.
Enoch walked at 65 years old. Now, he was basically a teenager. If you think about it, because he's going to live to be much longer than this. A teenager. So it's no excuse to say, well, I'm young. You should have said that 20 years ago, 30 years ago. But now you're at a point in life where you should be coming into wisdom of the Most High. Read on.
And Enoch walked with Yahweh.
The Most High, Enoch walked with the Most High. We should be walking with the Most High through our daily lives. Read it again, brother.
And Enoch walked with Yahweh after he begat Methuselah 300 years.
Now, the interesting thing is when you read this, you're going to read that Methuselah lived to be 969 years old. Nowhere in this book does he say he walked with the Most High. What kind of life did he live? 969 years old, right? You're not going to find that here. But it does say that Enoch, when he was 65, when he had Methuselah, he walked with the Most High. Read on.
And begat sons and daughters.
And he begat sons and daughters, meaning what? He had children, but he was in a state of being with the Most High. You understand? Using what the Most High showed him. And don't think that, there weren't bad influences around like you and I have in life right now. They were there. They were there. You understand? But it's just that it's saying he walked with the Most High. He chose the Most High over all the other bad decisions, over all the bad influences that was there. You understand that? So he chose the Most High rather than choosing the way of the world, rather than choosing the way of the way men think. He walked with the Most High. Read.
And all the days of Enoch were 365 years.
Mm-hmm.
And Enoch walked with Yahweh, and he was not.
So now, 365 years, and compared to what we live now, is a long time. You understand that? You understand that? But remember, at 65, he started walking with the Most High when he had Methuselah. You understand? So from way back then, he had sense enough to choose the Most High over the world. You understand? That's what that means. He walked with the Most High instead of walking with his friends, instead of walking with the way that the world thinks. So that's why it says what? And Enoch walked with the Most High, and what? He was not seen by men again. Why? For the Most High took him. So he pleased the Most High. You understand? He pleased the Most High. Now we can read down about Methuselah, but it's not going to tell us what it said about Enoch, his father. You understand? Now it says Enoch lived 365 years. It's going to tell you that Methuselah lived 969 years, but it's not going to say he walked with the Most High. So he had all that extra time, and he didn't take the advice of his father. You understand? He didn't live the way his father lived, because it doesn't say that Methuselah walked with the Most High. It didn't say that. Enoch lived 365 years. The Most High took him. Methuselah, his son, lived 969 years. That's a waste of life. You understand? But it's the same thing for you and I today. If we're not walking with the Most High, we're wasting our lives. If we're not making our decisions based upon what the Most High told us to do and advised us and counseled us to do, we're wasting our lives. All that time that Methuselah lived, and not to say he wasn't a righteous man, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't say that he walked with the Most High. In order to find out who else walked with the Most High, now we got to skip Methuselah's long life, right? And we got to jump to Noah. Think about that, right? Go to the book of Genesis chapter 6, verse 9. We got to skip over Methuselah and his 969 years. Now we got to go to Noah in Genesis chapter 6, verse 9.
Genesis chapter 6 and verse 9. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generations. And Noah walked with Yahweh.
He walked with the Most High. Well, under what conditions? Because it's not going to tell you that the Most High took Noah. It's going to tell you exactly what he did with Noah, building the ark and so forth and so on. But what kind of conditions was Noah living under to walk with the Most High and what be perfect in his generation? Go to verse 3.
Genesis chapter 6 and verse 3.
verse 5. Verse 5.
Verse 5. And Yahweh saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth.
So Noah was living in a wicked time. Don't think it was all gravy back then and it was just cool and, Noah was just like, man, everybody's righteous, I'm going to be righteous. Nah, it wasn't like that. Read it again.
Genesis 6 and 5. And Yahweh saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth.
And remember, they didn't have the numbers that today, like the numbers today are great. Okay? Smaller number back then, but nonetheless, they were wicked. And when you have wickedness around you, it tends to what? Influence you. You understand? Now we got a whole lot of wickedness in this world, wicked men to influence us. A lot of us fall to it. But the few that they had back then, which was the great population at that time, they were wicked, and Noah didn't give into it. Enoch didn't give into it. You understand? Read on.
And that every imagination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually.
Evil continually. They weren't listening to the Most High. They knew the Most High. Don't think they didn't. Don't think only Enoch knew and no, everybody knew the Most High. It's just that Enoch and Noah made the decision not to give into the evil. You understand? When you're reading this word, you got to really get to the meat of it, because then you could put yourself into it and say, well, in this world, it's the same thing. So now in this world, you will be Enoch, you will be Noah. Why? Because you're going to choose to listen to the Most High and walk with him rather than giving into what the great evil in the world. And as evil as it was back then, it's even 10 times more evil now. You understand? Read on.
Verse 6. And it repented Yahweh that he made man on earth, and it grieved him at his heart. Yahweh said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air. For repent of me that I have made them. So
in the midst of all this evil, in the midst of all this great evil, so evil to the point where the Most High said, I'm going to destroy man. They are wicked continually. Every thought of his heart is evil. What is evil again, brothers? Anything that is in opposition to the Most High. They were not meditating on his law. They were not living in his law. They were being vile and wicked. They were doing what they wanted to do. What does that sound like? Today's world, right? That's today's world, where we turn on your television, they're advertising an abortion to you, right? They're advertising all kind of drugs to you, right? They're advertising sex and pornography and all kind of wickedness. See, back then you had to go outside to see, but now all you got to do is turn on your television, right? So that's why I say it's even more evil now than it was back then. But now you and I still have the source that Enoch had. You and I still have the source that Noah had, which is the word of the Most High, the law, the righteous way. You understand? Read.
Verse 8. But Noah found grace in the eyes of Yahweh.
And Noah found grace in the eyes of the Most High in the midst of all this wickedness. Okay? So the Most High focused and homed in on Noah. Why? Because all the wickedness that was going on with all men doing evil, this man was doing right. That's what you want. You want the Most High to home in on you and to point the light, shine the light on you, because, you know, that brother right there, that sister right there, they're doing the right thing, right? He said what? He found grace in the eyes of the Most High. That's what you want. You don't want to be a part of the crowd. You don't want to be accepted by the evil, because that means you're rejected by the Most High. You don't want to be accepted by your friends if they're still doing what you were doing before you came into the Word. So don't think, okay, well, let me just hang out with them every now and then. No, don't do it. As long as they're doing evil, separate yourself from them. And like I said, it might be friends, it might be family. You understand? It might be people you're close to. But Noah did it. Read on.
Verse 9. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generation.
He separated himself, brothers. He sanctified himself. He knew how to keep his vessel. You understand that? He knew how to keep his vessel, like we read in Thessalonians chapter 4. He didn't do what they were doing. Okay, he didn't allow himself to be out there or to do the wickedness of the world. He held his vessel in sanctification. He's separated. I'm not going to do what y'all doing. That's what we got to do. Even though it's all around us, and sometimes even in our homes, you have to find a way to sanctify yourself, because that's the will of the Most High for you. We read that. Read on.
And Noah walked with Yahweh.
And you have to walk with the Most High. You have to make the Most High your new friend. Okay? Whereas your old friend was wicked, the Most High is righteous. Whereas your old friend was doing all kind of things that was cool in the world, the Most High doesn't accept that. Okay? So in order to be right, you have to remove some of the old and just stick with the Most High. That's what you got to do. Sometimes, you know, sitting here and even saying it in life, it sounds so simple, but it's not simple, because guess what? While you're trying to separate, they're trying to cling. They're calling you up. What's up, man? I ain't seen you for a minute. What's up, son? We gonna smoke this weed, right? You understand? Because, you know, you trying to get away. They try, nah, you my man. What's up? You know what I'm saying? So don't think it's easy. And I'm not professing or even trying to make it sound easy. It's not easy, man. But that's what we want to do. That's what Enoch did. That's what Noah did. And again, they were living in an evil world. We're living in an evil world. And we have to make that decision to get up and walk away from the evil of the world and walk with the Most High. Read on. Matter of fact, you read verse 9?
Yeah.
Okay. So at the end, the last precept says what? And Noah walked with the Most High. We have to walk with the Most High. And in order to do that, you know you have to be sanctified. Okay? The Holy Spirit will not dwell in any vessel that's unclean. So if you're having unclean thoughts, if you're doing unclean things, you're by yourself. You don't have the protection of the Most High. You don't have the grace of the Most High like Noah did. Everybody understand? In order to be with the Most High, your vessel must be clean. Your mind, your spirit must be clean. Your thoughts, brothers and sisters, must be clean. That's not easy. It's not easy, but that's that walk. Okay? When people read about the walk, when people read the scriptures, they say, nah, I think I'm all right. Or they say, you know what, I can handle that. You understand? But it's easier said with your mouth than done in real life. Okay, let's leave from there. Go to Genesis chapter 17, verse 1, because the Most High will call us, and when He calls us, we have to react. And the beautiful thing that we have to remember is that the Most High gave us all these examples for us to remember of men that later on He blessed and He called friend and He loved them. In the beginning, they weren't walking at their best, right? In the beginning, was Abraham doing the right thing? Nah. He lied. Call it what it is, right? But then we had, after Abraham, we had Isaac and we had Jacob, and guess what? They all made mistakes. Okay, so the Most High is not calling perfect men and women. He's calling men and women to be perfect, to learn how to be perfect, like Noah, like Enoch. Okay, you understand? Because this is the mission that we're on. So we're in Genesis chapter 17, read verse 1.
Genesis chapter 17 and verse 1. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, Yahweh appeared unto Abram and said unto him, I am Yahweh Almighty, power. Walk before me and be thou perfect.
Walk before me and be thou perfect. Now, like I said, Enoch did that at 65. And at that point in time, he still had 300 years to live because he lived to be 365 years old, right? Abraham doesn't have that amount of time. But nonetheless, when he was, 99, right? The Most High called him and said, think about that. He lived his life. And in his life, remember, you had his father who dealt with idolatry. You remember that, right? So he didn't have good examples. But nonetheless, he chose to do what? To leave that. When the Most High called him out of that, he just went with the Most High. Imagine that. Your own father is dealing with idols. That's the example you had for 99 years. Okay? 99 years you saw your father bowing down to all kind of images and so forth, right? So that's the impression you have on your mind. That's gonna affect you, brothers and sisters. Okay? You're not gonna just say, okay, well, I'm not gonna do what my father did. What if that's all you saw? The Most High didn't call him at 9 years old. 19, 29, 39, and 59. So all those years, what did he see? He saw his father doing wickedness. Everybody understand that? So the Most High is going to call you when he's ready for you. And you're going to come to him being imperfect. When Abraham went to the Most High, when the Most High called Abraham, he wasn't perfect. So when you see that he lied and so forth and so on, he was imperfect. You understand that? We are imperfect. But the Most High is calling us in our imperfect states to be what? Become perfect. To follow him. All right? So, read verse 2.
Genesis 17:2. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and I will multiply thee exceedingly.
So you understand that what that means now is that the Most High saw him fit to make an agreement with him. He said, I'm going to make my agreement with you and your generations to come. He said, I will multiply thee exceedingly. And I'm just trying to draw a picture to you of the age in which these men came to the Most High, the age in which they made the decision to follow the Most High, or the Most High called them. So wherever you are in life right now, okay, the Most High is calling you. And he's calling you out of the way that you learned or you knew into the way that he wants you to be. All right? That's what you got to understand. Don't make excuses. Don't say, I'm not right. I'm not ready. It's not up to you. Unless you want to be like Jonah. Okay? Out there in that ship, tempest, storm, and all kind of things going on. And your life is a havoc. Your life is mayhem and crazy. But I'm describing what a lot of people's lives are. You understand? Because they don't understand that the Most High is touching them, communicating with them, saying, look, man, stop that. Sometimes he'll tell you, he'll do that to you and you'll stop. Sometimes you don't stop and you say, okay, I'm gonna take you out. But he's taking you out before you had that decision, you had that chance to make that decision to be right. Okay? And if he wants you to do like what he wanted Jonah to do, in the end, you're going to do it. But he's going to beat you up a bit. He's going to beat you up a bit. You understand? Remember when you read further into Jonah, the Most High created a plan for him to, avoid the sun. And he was cool that night. But then the next day, the Most High created a worm and the worm ate the plant. And and Jonah was in the hot sun, right? But the whole point of the matter is the Most High was beating him up. And he didn't get it. He thought it was still about him. Because he's like, if I go there, I know what's going to happen. I'm going to tell them to do right. They're going to do right. And then you're going to forgive them. Right? That's what the Most High does. You understand? Because if he didn't do that, we'd all be dead. Done. But the whole point is, the more you run, the more you suffer. The more you run, the more you suffer. So instead of running and suffering, walk with the Most High. Leviticus chapter 26, verse 11. Walk with the Most High. You cannot run from the greatest and the only power of the universe. You can't run from him. You can't run from the Most High. I don't care what kind of track and field you did in life. When the Most High calls you, that's it. You got to answer. Leviticus chapter 26, verse 11 says this.
Genesis chapter 26 and verse 11. And I will set my...
Leviticus, right?
Leviticus?
You in Leviticus?
26.
Read it.
Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 11. And I will set my tabernacle among you, and my soul shall not abhor.
Right.
And I will walk among you.
And I will what?
And I will walk among
And it's important that we read this, okay? Because the Most High is saying, as you're setting up shop, you're setting up your tabernacle, your dwelling place, right? He says, I'm going to do what? I'm going to walk among you. As you're choosing to walk with the Most High, He's going to choose to walk with you or among you. So you're not by yourself. Whenever you're going through things in life, you're not by yourself. And the scripture shows you that. You might not be able to see the Most High, but you can feel the Most High. Okay? Read 12 again.
And I will walk among you, and will be your power, and you shall be my people.
And you shall be my people. And it's talking about the whole nation. The Most High says, I will walk among you, and I will be your power, and ye shall be my people. Okay? And you know, like I said, there's another place we can go. He said, make it clean and sanctified so that when I walk among you, it's not dirty and I have to flee. I have to go away. Okay? But that simply means that in your life, you got to make things right for the Most High. You want that Holy Spirit to be in your life, you got to make that right. You got to make your temple right. You got to make your vessel right. You got to learn how to hold your vessel in sanctification and what? Honor. You understand? To make your walk a good walk, a comfortable walk, a walk where you're prosperous. Leave Leviticus and go to the book of, let's go into the Apocrypha. You're never alone. The Most High is always with you. His Holy Spirit is there with you. But remember, the Holy Spirit is called the Spirit of Truth. He doesn't deal with lies. So if you're in denial, you're lying to yourself. Okay? If you're not living right, unclean, the Holy Spirit is not with you. And that Holy Spirit is that connection between you and the Most High. Okay? You need that connection. We all need that connection because it gives us a sense of security. Okay? A sense of security. When you feel insecure, you feel all alone, or you say, the Most High don't want nothing to do with me, it's something you're doing. It's something we're doing that we need to stop doing to regain that connection between us and the Most High. That connection between us and the Most High is important. Because we look at what happened in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve. When they sinned, what happened? They started hiding. Why? That security wasn't there no more. That security wasn't there no more. So how do you feel when you sin? It's the same way. Sometimes we feel shamed. Sometimes we feel insecure. Sometimes we feel like we're alone, right? Right. So you have to undo that. Now you have to repent, pray to the Most High, and stop doing what you did. So we're in the book of 2 Ezra chapter 7. We're going to start at verse 1.
2 Ezra chapter 7 and verse 1. And when I had made an end of speaking these words, there was sent unto me the angel, which had been sent unto me the nights before. And he said unto me, Up, Ezra, and hear the words that I am come to tell thee. And I say, Speak on, my power. Then said he unto me, The sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. But put the case the entrance were narrow, and like a river. Who then could go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad?
So the Most High made the sea the way it is. He made it a deep cavern. He made it a very, 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 very deep and very wide. Then he put the water in there. That's his work. That's what he does. You understand? But he made it like that. And that's what he does. But how in your life is the Most High bringing you to see the sea? How is he with you? I want you to just think about that. And then read verse 4 again.
2 Ezra chapter 7 and verse 4. But put the case, the entrance were narrow and like a river.
So suppose you had a great sea out there, right? But in order to see it, you had to go through this very narrow or small entrance. How would you see it? Read on.
Who then could go into the sea to look upon it and to rule it?
If the entrance was so small and narrow that it looked scary to go through it. You want to see this great big ocean, but the entrance to go to see this great big ocean is very narrow. Read on.
If he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad?
How could you come into the broad to see this great ocean that the Most High, this great spectacle that the Most High has created, this great wonderful thing that the Most High has created? Because it's actually talking about the kingdom of heaven. You understand? And how wide or beautiful it is, how there's room for everything and everybody. You understand? But in order to get to it, you have to go through a very narrow passage, and that passage is called life. Okay? That passage is called trials. Okay, that passage is called what you go through in this life. When Jonah was going through that passage, he ran. He said, I don't want to do that. You understand? Are we doing that? Because it's too challenging? Because it's too much? Because it's too much all the time? Read.
Verse 5. Salaki, verse 6. There is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things. The entrance thereof is narrow, and set in a dangerous place to fall. Like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water.
So the city is builded, set upon a broad field, and is full of good things, right? Everything that we want. Love, safety, security, acceptance. That's that city. That's the kingdom of heaven. It's there. There's no rejection for us. There's no us doubting others or doubting ourselves. There's no us thinking, man, this is temporary. None of that. It's built up in a place where there is security. But again, it says, what about the entrance? Verse 7.
Verse 7. The entrance thereof is narrow and set in a dangerous place to fall.
So that's amazing though, right? The prize is there, but to get to it, you have to go through something very dangerous. And again, it's very narrow, meaning what? It's not comfortable. When you go through a wide place, you don't have to worry about anything. You're comfortable. But when you're going through something narrow, it's very, very, very uncomfortable. Okay? You know, you might get anxiety. You know, you might start to feel insecure. You might start to feel a lot of things because when it's so narrow, you can't see everything and you can't feel like you're going to get there real quick. Okay? It's slowing you down because it's so narrow. You understand? But nonetheless, you know that when you get beyond this narrow entrance, boom, is that beautiful city. Read.
The entrance thereof is narrow and set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand and on the left a deep water.
Meaning what? Challenges. And you know, the funny thing about these challenges is when you look to the right, you're really trying to run. Okay? Because if you were looking forward, you just be going. But because the entrance is so narrow, you're looking for a way out. Like, how I get out of here, man? But when you look to the left, you see fire. When you look to the right, you see water. And you find out, is this me? Can I do this? Because as you're looking, you're not seeing your wife, your brother, or your sister next to you. You're just seeing fire next to you, water next to you. They can't fit. It's just you. It's just you on your walk. You're doing this walk, you think by yourself because you don't see anybody physical next to you. But who set it up? Who built the city? Who made the ocean? The Most High. So you're thinking you're by yourself. You're not by yourself. Read on.
Verse 8. And one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water.
One path. Read.
So small that there could be but one man go there at once.
You know what's going to happen? You're going to get some kind of anxiety. It's too narrow up in here. It's too close. Okay? It's not comfortable. That's what this word is. That's what this truth is. That's the entrance to the kingdom of heaven. Okay? Very challenging, very uncomfortable. Okay? And again, it doesn't look like something that could be done easily or quickly. Read on.
Verse 9. If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, if he shall never pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance?
And the inheritance is ours because we are that man. You understand? That's our inheritance. But in order to get it, we have to challenge ourselves because it's going to challenge us. Read.
Verse 10. And I said, it is so, Adawan, Then said he unto me, even so also is Israel's portion.
That's our portion. And that's why they say, we have no hope. That's why they say, there's no future in them people. Look, they're shooting themselves. Even the young ones are shooting each other now. They're killing themselves. They're selling dope to each other. They're setting each other up. That's how it appears on the outside. Okay? But now within our own communities, how does it appear? Very dire. Okay? It appears that there's no end to our struggle. We're still marching, brothers and sisters. Okay? Martin Luther King dead. He dead. We're still marching. Brothers still getting shot. Sisters still getting shot. Still being robbed. Okay? Disease is still rampant in our neighborhoods. We look like we have no hope. So we appear like that as a community to the outside, but even so much more inside. Because when you see brothers out there and their pants down to their ankles and you can see their underwear and it's a grown man, how do you feel about that man? He's grown. Sometimes he got gray hair and he's still out there showing his underwear. How do you feel about him? You think, oh, that man gonna be prosperous. No, you don't feel that way. You don't feel like that. You feel like, man, we a bunch of fools. We ain't gonna get nowhere. You understand? But that right there, what I just said, that sentiment is the spirit that permeates our neighborhoods and our communities. We not only look hopeless, we feel hopeless. You understand what I'm saying to you? As a nation, as a family, as individuals. So how does a woman talk to her child now? She's looking out the window and the father ain't there. Or he ain't being there. He ain't giving no money. Or if he's there, he's not working. How does she feel? How does she talk to her son? What she does is what she feels inside, she vocalizes to that child over a period of time. So that child grows up hopelessly, without hope. You understand? The spiritual growth is stunning because now they're not being given aspirations and hope and being told you're gonna be great one day. And even if they are, you looking out the window and say, ain't nobody else great out here? How am I gonna be great? You understand what I'm saying? That's how we appear. But that's how we look at each other. Okay? And you're reading why. Because the entrance is very narrow for us. But nonetheless, the city is builded, right? And nonetheless, we're not alone. Let's read on.
2nd Ezra chapter 7 and verse 11. Because for their sakes I made the world.
Yes. I want you to read 10 again.
And I said, it is so, Adawan. Then said he unto me, even so also is Israel's portion.
So we're talking about Israel. The children of Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and our people everywhere. Whether they be in Europe, whether they be in Africa, whether they be in the islands, whether they be in the Fiji Island, the Samoa Island, wherever they are. Some of us are in Neverland. You understand? We're everywhere. But the point of the matter is, this is Israel's portion. It's talking about Israel. That kingdom is your portion. Okay? I don't care how your ghetto looks, man. Your portion is the kingdom of heaven. Your mother and father might not be able to tell you and give you, any kind of encouragement, but the word does. The kingdom of heaven is your portion. Read on.
Because for their sakes I made the world.
Because for Israel's sakes, the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, wherever we are, the Most High made the world. Read that again.
Because for their sakes I made the world.
The Most High made this world for you. That's amazing. Because like I said, it don't look like that. It don't feel like that. But he's saying, yes, I made it for you. Read on.
And when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that is now done.
Very, very important that you understand that. When Adam transgressed or sinned, broke the Most High's laws, and he said statutes meaning laws, then was decreed that now is the narrow passages to the kingdom of the Most High. You understand? Read.
Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful.
Full of perils and full of pain. In other words, it's describing what the narrow entrances really are. because when it says narrow, it's talking in a figurative way. But now when you go to verse 12, the Most High the angel is describing what that really means. He says, then were the entrances of this world, which were made narrow. They're full of what? Sorrow, travail. They are but few and evil. They're what? Full of perils and very painful. That's what we're going through in life. You understand? All these things is what we're going through in life, and we were made to go through these things in life as a nation, as a family, and as individuals. So that's why it appears hopeless. You understand? But the Most High has made a kingdom for us. Read on.
Verse 13. For the entrances of the older world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit.
That's how it was back then. Okay? Remember, prior to Adam, we weren't working. We had it all. But then after Adam sinned, slowly these things were taken from us. You understand? Slowly paradise was taken away from us. Slowly hope. Slowly being lively and hopeful and full of life was taken from us. And now we're at the point where we don't have it. So now that is the explanation for why we are how we are. We might not be able to vocalize it or verbalize it because we just feel a way and we don't understand it, so we try to neutralize it with drugs, alcohol, and all kind of foolishness. You understand? That's what's going on. Read.
Verse 14. If then they that live labor not to enter into the straight and vain things.
If you don't choose to walk right, if you don't choose to do what the Most High told you to do, read on.
They can never receive those things that are laid up for them.
Which is the kingdom, which is the blessings, which is the end of your worries, the end of you feeling hopeless, the end of you feeling insecure, and the end of evil in your life, the end of doubt. You understand? But the Most High is saying what? If then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things, they can never receive those that are laid up for them. So in other words, it's waiting, but you have to go through that narrow passage. And unfortunately, that narrow passage is filled with sorrow, travail, evil, perils, and it's very painful. Everybody understand that? So the walk you're going to walk in life, it's not going to be pleasant, brothers, sisters. You're going to be going through things. Nobody says you come into this word and it's all good from there. No, that's the beginning of your trial. That's the beginning of the pain, the travail, and everything else, and the perils. Okay? That's the life we live. What is the reward for that? That kingdom, that wide ocean. But you have to take the challenge. Excuse me. You have to decide to take that walk. And you can't run. If you're meant to be there, he's going to whip you till you turn around. Understand? Now, unfortunately, that whipping can last very long, or it can be short, depending on how you see things. Okay? This present world is a world where people give up easily because that's one thing that's offered to them. Okay? Just give up, man. There's more people committing suicide now than ever before. Worldwide. And now we're in an economic downfall, okay? And things are about to get worse. What do you think is going to happen? People losing their jobs, losing their savings, the government taking their savings, okay? People losing their homes, all of these things, they're happening now. Because when they allowed when they took away, you know, what they call with the rent, they because of COVID, they said, okay, we're not going to allow anybody to be kicked out of their homes, right? Excuse me. That's off the table now. Right. The moratorium on evictions, right? That's done away with now, right? Which means you have what? More homeless people. More people with their savings spent up. More people with not a way out. Okay, so you have to be able to gauge things before it gets totally crazy. It's heading there. Okay, verse 15.
Verse 15. Now therefore, why disquietest thou thyself, seeing thou art but a corruptible man? And why art thou moved, whereas thou art but mortal?
Don't let these things bother you. Don't let what's going on discourage you and make you become hopeless. Everything that's going on is supposed to happen. Understand? It's up for you to overcome. It's up to you to rise to the occasion and realize where you are in life. Let's go to the book of John chapter 6 verse 48. John chapter 6 verse 48. So that we understand, what's going on. Don't be a part of those that decide to take your life, because it doesn't get better when you take your life. Okay? Don't be a part of those that give up. And I know it's easier said than done, but at the end of the day, if you are a spiritual man or you're trying to be a spiritual woman or a spiritual man, you'll understand that no matter how dire your situation looks, the Most High is there with you. John 6:48.
John chapter 6 and verse 48. I am that bread of life. Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness and are dead.
They're dead. But nonetheless, while we were in the wilderness, the Most High fed them. Okay? First thing you have to learn is what he says. I am that bread of life. Yahushua, Christ is that bread of life. We have to cling to him and remember his sufferings. Okay, read verse 49 again.
Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness and are dead. This is the bread which cometh down from
It didn't profit them. It didn't profit them. The Most High gave them food that was not earthly. Okay, he gave them angels food that no other nation or people had. But even though they had it and it sustained them, it didn't profit them. They didn't understand that the true bread was not the physical bread that you use to sustain you physically, but the spiritual bread, which is Christ, which is Yahushua. Okay, so what I'm trying to say to you is we got the example of Jonah and that the Most High was there all along. Okay, even when he was causing havoc in Jonah's life is because Jonah's fault. Okay, but nonetheless, he was there. But now we understand that while our fathers were in the wilderness, they were being taken care of. They didn't understand that, so it didn't profit them. We should not be like them, but learn from them and let it profit us. Okay? You're not by yourself. Christ is with you. But if you don't understand this and believe this and be able to remind yourself of that, you're going to feel like you're alone. That's why these people are killing themselves, brothers and sisters. They feel like they're alone. Nobody cares. And who would miss me anyway? You understand? This is what they say to themselves, but not just them saying it to themselves, demons repeating it to them. You understand? But what happens to that demon when you commit suicide? Most High gonna punish the demon? Yeah, eventually, but he's gonna punish you also. Because you're responsible for what you do in your body. Your walk is a serious walk. Okay? Your walk, your adventure, I call it an adventure because that's exactly what it is. You're going through things. You're experiencing things. Some of these things might make you doubt. Some of these things might make you want to give up. Okay, but nonetheless, Yahushua, Christ is that bread that you have to constantly ingest. But don't take the word, ingest it, and then turn around from it like our forefathers did. It fed you, but now you're onto something else. Or it fed you, but here comes a situation you're not even thinking about him. Okay, read 50.
50? Mm-hmm. This is the bread which cometh down from heaven.
And this is spoken in a figurative way because the manna that came down from heaven to our forefathers when we were in the wilderness, it literally came down. It just appeared to us every morning, right? And we would gather it and we would do things to make it so we could eat it. And on Fridays, we would have a double portion. I'm sorry, the sixth day, we would have a double portion in anticipation to the seventh day, okay? Everybody understand that? So in other words, our forefathers had that. No other nation had that. It didn't profit them. You and I have Yahushua, we have Christ. Don't let it be where we have Christ and he doesn't profit us. So he says what again in 50?
This is the bread which cometh down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof and not die.
And not die. Because it said what? Our forefathers ate the man in the wilderness and they're dead. Let us not eat or consume Christ and end up dead. Because we don't get it. We don't get his suffering. We don't appreciate him for what he did and understand that we're going to have to go through some of those same things. Okay? It's not going to be honky-dory. Verse 51.
I am the living bread.
The living bread. You got to understand that. The living bread, something that's living, is alive and can be with you, communicate with you, help you. I am the living bread. Read on.
Which came down from heaven.
Which was sent by the Most High. Read on.
If any man eat of this bread.
We're not talking about the physical manna, but the spiritual Christ. Read on.
He shall live forever.
You're going to live forever, brother. You're not going to be dead like our forefathers. You understand? But it's all about you having that mindset during your walk where you're saying, Christ is still here. Christ is with me. Even if I'm in a room by myself, Christ is with me. You understand? Even if you're down on your luck, you lost your job, your family's not talking to you, Christ is there with you. Always with you. Read.
And the bread that I will give is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world.
Right, exactly. And now, so some of our brothers, when they heard this, they were walking with Christ, and after a while, they just said, "Nah, I can't do this because he getting kind of out of hand right now, right?" it sounded away, and I want you to read verse 66 because when he said those words, he went on to say, "You got to eat my flesh, you got to drink my blood," and it sounded away to them because it's like, wait, what is he talking about? You know, that sounds weird. That sounds almost like he was talking about idolatry or something weird that the other nations did, but he wasn't talking about that. You understand? So though he was talking to everybody, he wasn't talking to everybody. So what happened in verse 66?
66?
Yes, sir.
From that time, many of his disciples went back and walked no more with him.
They didn't walk with him anymore because they didn't get it. It's like, what is this man talking about? We got to eat his flesh and drink his blood. Matter of fact, go to 55.
Verse 55.
I'm sorry, 54. 54.
54.
Mm-hmm.
Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood.
That's what they heard. That's what he said, but they didn't get it. Read on.
Hath eternal life.
Go ahead.
And I will raise him up at the last day.
They didn't get that either. Read.
For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed.
Now, to a carnal person who's like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? You understand? What are you talking about? Are you talking about physically doing this? Or are you talking about a spiritual aspect? But they were walking with him, brothers, just like how we're walking with him now. And they didn't get it. Read on.
He that eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood dwelleth in me, and I in him.
Exactly. Read.
As the living Father hath sent me, I live by the Father. So he that eateth me, even he shall live by me.
That sounds away. Even today. Sounds away. Yes, it does. Sounds away, right? But only to a carnal man, carnal woman, or somebody that doesn't get it. Okay? Was Christ a righteous man? Yes. So he wasn't talking about anything unclean. He wasn't talking about anything unseemly, right? Nothing evil. But he was talking to some that would get it and some that would not get it. Do we all get it? Okay, we have to consume him not just once, but daily. We have to consume his life, his trials, him on the cross, the nails in him. We got to consume that. And when you consume that, you understand you have to go through these things. If you don't get that, you're going to go through these things anyway and don't understand it. Then do what? Verse 66 again.
From that time, many of his disciples went back.
You're going to go back. You're going to stop your walking with him and leave him because you don't get it. They didn't get it. Read.
And walk no more with him.
They walked no more with him because they didn't get it. You understand? You and I have to get it. We got to get it daily so that when things are happening and we don't fully understand, what does this mean? Why am I going through this now? You understand? Consume the life of Christ, you'll get it. This man said, man, birds have a home and I ain't got nowhere to go. No matter where I go, if somebody's knocking on my door. Talking about, can you heal me? Can you touch me? Can you just blow on me? Right? He had no rest. Do you feel like you have rest? Do you feel like you have rest? That's the whole point. You're gonna get to a point where you just feel tired. You should feel tired right now because you're waiting for something. You don't see it. You know it's there. That's that narrow entrance. You know it's coming, but when is it coming? Paul said way back then, brothers were talking about this is the end of the world now. He's like, nah, this got to happen first. This got to happen first, and so forth and so on, right? So now you see these things happening, but it's not in completion. There's more to come. So while you're consuming his flesh spiritually, okay, you're understanding what he went through and understand that you got to go through some of these things. There's still that wait period, okay, where you might get, like I said, anxiety. You might start to feel away, like, when is this going to be over? Why am I getting up every day feeling like this? Okay, but that's a part of your walk. Did you not read where it said that, you know, in the Apocrypha, what's your walk full of, brothers? Should I remind you that it said that then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow, full of travail. There are but few in evil, okay, full of perils and very painful. Is your life not painful? Is what you're going through not painful? That's that walk. Got to keep walking. Don't be like the brothers in verse 66 that just said, nah, we can't do this. He don't sound right. You know what I'm saying? Because then not only did they stop walking with him, they lost their ticket to the kingdom of heaven. Okay? Because they stopped following him. Because of what he said that they couldn't understand. They wanted something easier than that. Yeah. They wanted something easier than that. Something more easily understood or digested. You understand? It's not going to be easy. Peril, danger, painful. That's your walk. It's not going to be easy. Let's go to the book of, we can read the rest of it. It's beautiful. We can read the rest, but do that on your own. Now let's go to the book of Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 2. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 2. Because nobody said it was going to be easy. And anybody that said it was going to be easy lied to you. Okay?
Deuteronomy chapter 8 and verse 2. And thou shalt remember all the way which Yahweh thy power led thee these 40 years in the wilderness, to humble thee.
That was the whole point. And that's what's going to be happening on your walk. He's going to humble you, read.
And to prove
He's going to prove you. That's why it's called a trial. Which means he's going to, what? Challenge you. Challenge you. The next trial is going to be harder than your last trial. He's going to challenge you. He's not going to give you the same thing to go through all over again. You know the answer to that. You know how to get out of that. You know how to deal with that. It's going to be more complex, more hard, more harsh, more painful, more travail, more sorrow, all of these things. Read.
To know what was in thine heart, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no. And he humbled thee, and suffered thee to hunger, and fed thee with manna, which thou knewest not, neither did thy fathers know.
We just read that, right? Read on.
That he might make thee know that man doth not live by bread only, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yahweh doth man live.
And that is Christ. Everybody get it? That's Christ. That's Christ. That's Christ. That's Yahushua. That's the anointed. Okay? We have to walk with him. We have to digest him. You know, we have to make him a part of our lives. We have to consume him daily. Remind ourselves of his struggles daily, of his trials daily, of him being on the cross daily. Every day, brothers, when you feel suffering, when you feel sad, when you feel like giving up, when you feel like, oh, when is this going to end? Christ, Yahushua. Read. Matter of fact, let's leave from there, go to Matthew chapter 4, verse 3. Matthew chapter 4, verse 3. And I'm telling you, I feel it sometimes. Body aches, pains, phone calls of things going wrong. Okay? Just life in general, man. Sometimes you want to just give up. Sometimes you want to take a vacation. Can you take a vacation from life? Can you do that? Can you press the pause button? Hold on. Just give me a minute here. You know? You take it a minute and the phone rings and somebody comes and says, Job, check it out. Guess what's happening now, right? You can't take a pause. You can't press the pause button or take a vacation from life or your trial. Okay? But you will be rewarded. Matthew chapter 4, verse 3.
Matthew chapter 4 and verse 3. And when the tempter came to him, he said, if thou be the son of Yahweh, command that these stones be made bread.
Make it easier. Make it easier. And you know, the tempter came to him after him fasting for 40 days. He was weak, right? Read on.
But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone.
There's that statement again. Now it's being quoted by H.O.D.C, by Christ. You can't just live by, you know, what you're given in life. There's more to it than that. There's more to it than that. Read.
But by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of Yahweh.
So when you're making decisions, it should be by every mouth, every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of Yahweh. When you're doing things, it should be by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Most High. When you're on your walk and the decisions that you make on your walk, it should be by what? Every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of the Most High, because that's the true bread in life. You understand? Not just hunky-dory, everything is good. Things are going to be bad. Things are going to happen. But you got to get to the point where, you know, you say, I'm Christ-like. People throw that thing around like it's nothing. I'm Christ-like, you know, I'm good. I go to church on Sunday and we do the dance, the holy jig and all that. And I'm Christ-like. See? Did Christ do that? Or did Christ go through trials and you know, and all that? Because that's what Christ's life is really about. Okay? And after that, we go to Matthew chapter 16, verse 24. Matthew 16, verse 24, because a lot of times what's going to have to happen is we're going to have to do something that's like our trial, unlike the entrances to the kingdom says, is going to be very uncomfortable. It's going to be very narrow. Matthew chapter 16, 24. Hold on before we start there. I want you to start at verse 21.
Matthew chapter 16 and verse 21. From that time forth began Yahushua to show unto his disciples how that he must go unto Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and be raised again the third day.
None of us are going to have to go through that. Some of us are going to die, yes. Nobody's going to put you on a cross physically. But what you're seeing here is Yahushua accepting his walk, telling his followers, his disciples, look, I'm going to have to go to Jerusalem. I'm going to suffer. A lot of things are going to happen to me. Of my own people, the elders and the chief priests, they're going to kill me. And guess what? I'm going to be raised again the third day. He's accepting his walk. Do you understand that? Do you see that? He's accepting his walk, or what the Most High has made for him to go through. Everybody get that? Read verse 22.
Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, be it far from thee, Adawan. This shall not be unto thee.
What is Peter doing? Not accepting Yahushua's walk. What is Peter doing? Not being realistic. What is Peter doing? Being emotional. What is Peter doing? Saying, no, let's go the other way. No, but let's not go to Jerusalem. Why are we going there anyway? Right? Let's not travel that path. Is that correct? No. But the Most High has made for you to go through, you're going to have to go through, just like Christ. That's a part of your walk. He accepted it, even to the point where he said, I accept the death. Do you understand that? I accept that they're going to do things to me. They're going to do all kinds of things to me. And in the end, they're going to kill me. Do you get that? Everybody accept that. That's the walk of Christ. Read.
But he turned and said unto Peter, get thee behind me, Satan.
Because that was Satan's plan. Okay? For him to not go through what he was supposed to go through, that would be Satan's plan. For you to not go through what the Most High wants you to go through, that's Satan's plan. Okay? Do you get that? For you to try to find an easier path, an easier route, that's Satan's plan. And he's going to bring it to you too. You ain't got to get up every Sabbath morning. You tired? Wasn't you just there last night? Stay in your bed and just relax, man. Watch some TV, some television. Okay? Just chill. It's Sabbath day anyway. You ain't got to go up there. You understand what I'm saying? Satan's plan. Read.
Thou art an offense unto me.
An offense. You're offensive to me. And anybody in your life that doesn't want you to walk, that straight walk, that narrow road, should be an offense to you, my brothers, sisters. They should be an offense to you. Anybody that's telling you, no, we can go to church on Sunday, man. Sleep on Saturday. They should be an offense to you. Why? Because they're not adhering to the words, the wisdom, and the plan of the Most High. Read.
For thou savorest not the things that be of Yahweh.
You don't want what the Most High wants for me. You don't want what the Most High wants for me. Sometimes what they say to you is going to sound like it's what the Most High wants for you, but you should know better. Okay, read.
What be of Yahweh?
Right.
But those that be of men.
Those that be of men. So like I said, sometimes you got to separate yourself from people that don't want the will of the Most High. And we know what the will of the Most High is, right? Our sanctification, that we know how to hold our vessel in honor. Okay, because that's a part of your walk. If you're walking and your vessel's not in honor or sanctified or separated from this world, you ain't really walking. You're just taking a stroll. There's no reward for that stroll. Okay, you got to get right. We got to get right. Read.
Then said Yahushua unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself.
Deny yourself. If any man will come after me, let him deny himself. Deny himself of what he might want to do, what might be easier, the other way out. Okay, if any man wants to follow me, he's got to do what? Deny himself. Read it from the top again.
Then said Yahushua unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me.
You got to walk with your burdens, with your problems, with your doubts. Okay, you got to walk with your second guessing and your second thinking, and you got to walk with your pain, and you got to walk with I'm not really sure. You got to walk with all that, because that's what the disciples did. Thomas was a doubter, right? He was a doubter to the end. He was a doubter to the end, but nonetheless he kept walking. When Yahushua was crucified and came back, he was still there to put his hand into his flesh. He didn't say, okay, I'm gonna stop walking, he's gone now. I was right. See, I was right. I had doubts from the beginning about that guy. I'm out of here. No, he was still there in the end to put his hand in his flesh. You understand? Do you understand what I'm saying? He kept on that walk with the doubt. Okay, Peter was still there. They were all still there, except for Judas. Don't be Judas, man. Because Judas wanted his own way. He wanted his own plan. That's all that Judas wanted. I want you to use your power and kill these Romans and free us from them. That's what Judas wanted, right? He wanted his own way. Don't give into your own way, because then you're not going to be there in the end to behold Yahushua, to be comforted by Yahushua, because you went off the path. Judas went off the path. He tried to force Yahushua's hand. He tried to force Christ's hand to use power, to use his power, because he knew that Christ had the power, right? He stepped off the path. And as a result, his name is not there on them gates. It says 12 gates with the name of the apostles, right? It says that, right? Judas' name is not there, man. You understand what I'm saying to you? Do you want your name to be there? Stay on that path. Stay on that path as hard as it is. I want you to read 24 again.
Then Yahushua said unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it. And whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it.
Right. Lose his life for my sake, which means going through that uncomfortable trial, doing things that not everybody else is doing. Only what the Most High has given you to do, to assign you to do, us to do. All right? He said, don't be like everybody else. You're in the world, but you're not of the world. So we're not going to be doing what everybody else is doing. Okay? It's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be, sometimes it's going to feel weird. That's what Peter said, the fiery trials, right? Don't think it's strange, brothers, sisters. It's a part of it. It's a part of your walk. And when you get off the path, you're going to be like Judas. You understand? Because remember, during the whole walk, when he was with Christ, what was he doing? He was plotting and, what's up with that? Why is she using that spick? No, why we couldn't save that, right? That was his own thought. That's what he wanted. That wasn't about Yahushua. Okay? So he's out of the picture. But then even Peter, that said, no, Christ, no, that's not for you. Nobody going to hurt you, man. You ain't going to die. Christ had to put him in his place. Your mind has to be what the Most High wants. What the Most High wants. Not what you want, how you feel. Okay? And when you do that, you're good. Outside of that, you're Judas. Hanging on the tree, going nowhere. Okay, my brothers and sisters? That's it for the class. And what I say to you today, I want you to remind me of tomorrow. What I say to you today, I want you to remind me of tomorrow, because I might forget. Let each one teach one. Everybody wrote down what I wrote down. Tomorrow I might forget. Next month, next year, I might be full of doubt. The spirit of doubt might be pouring all upon me. And like, yo, Kratos, I remember you said that, you know, we got to be like Enoch and Noah and, you know,